All right, welcome, guys. This is the Breakfast with the Brand, the number one podcast in the world for entrepreneurs and leaders who want to build industry leading brands. I am your host on this phenomenal Friday, Junior Frederick, and of course, I have with me Mr. Bobby Stealth. Bobby, how you doing?
Absolutely phenomenal, Junior. I'm so excited about today because we've been having such a phenomenal conversation. Like all week long, we've hit topics that, really took us into spaces that I don't think we've actually gone before because it was just me and you all week. So it was so interesting to unpack one another's story the way we have. So I'm super excited about Friday. See where we go.
Definitely, Bobby. I feel the same way. It's definitely been an interesting week for me. I'm not usually on the show every day of the week. But
Yeah.
guys, this week just happens to be the week. So I'm very excited to be with everybody today. And as you know, guys, this is your show. Like the only reason we come here every day is because we want to help you go to another level in your business. So at any point in time, if you guys have any questions, anything that you want to say, any comments, then definitely put that in the chat. And the only ask we have is that you share this out. So if you find value from the show, share it with at least one other person. That is the only ask. Okay. Now, before we get into it, I do want to send a few shout outs. I see the phenomenal people. Tia. So Tia says, Great Friday, everyone. Have a blessed week ahead. Everyone follow us, highlights. Let's continue to grow together. Enjoy this day the Lord has made and rejoice in it. Definitely, Tia. I definitely agree. Bradley says, Phenomenal Friday, all. Joel says, Fantastic Friday, all. And Dr. Michelle says, Fantastic Friday. So it's a fantastic Friday, Bobby. Fantastic Friday.
Yeah. Looks that way. Looks that way. Like, how are you, Junior? We always forget to ask you how you're doing. Like, we don't care about Junior. It's like we just go into the day. Nobody asks Junior how he's doing. How are
Man,
you?
I didn't ask myself that question until you asked me. But I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Like I said, my perspective on life is as long as I'm above ground, then I'm absolutely phenomenal. That's my perspective on life. So if you see me, as long as you see me, just know I'm amazing. I'm good. Okay. So I'm absolutely phenomenal. And today, Bobby, we do have a guest, very, very interesting guest. He has been on multiple times on the show. I think everybody here will know who he is. Um, I'm not going to say who he is just yet. But if I had to give a tip, I would say the market is the market is the market.
I love it.
So go ahead, put it in the chat. Who do you guys think I'm talking about when I say the market? So what is the market associated with? And then if you know what that's about, then you'll know who this guest is. Okay. So
Mhm.
Bobby, before we go to the first break, is there anything that you'd like to say to the audience?
Because I got a pretty good idea who this guest is, I'm interested to see where we take this conversation because I was thinking something like brand resilience leads to brand dominance. But because we have a phenomenal guest, we might go in a different direction. So I'm super excited. And everybody that's watching, stay tuned, guys, because every time we have this guest on, it's always a phenomenal conversation.
100%. And before we go to that break, I do want to put the link at the bottom here. So the brand challenge goes live on Monday. So Monday, April 8th, brand challenge is going live. If you haven't registered as yet, go ahead, www.ultimatebrandchallenge.com, register. Also share this out, share it with your friends. By the way, something I've never said, like guys, the person who refers the most people to the brand challenge, they get free access to VIP. I don't think I've said that. It's on the page, but I have not said that as yet. So if you refer the most people to the challenge, then you get free access to VIP, and you can learn more details in the series of emails that we've been sending out. Of course, if you haven't registered, then most likely you have not received the emails. So if you want to receive the emails, go ahead, put your details in, and please go ahead and register. We'll be right back after this short break. Stay tuned. This is Breakfast with the Brand. Let's grow.
I said Sean Ride East. I'm proud. That's Sean Ride East. Leadership is not the brand they made for us.
Listen, he brought fire, heat. He didn't hold back.
20 years down the line, what I could sell, why not serve first? service over salary. Branding like a leader closes the gap for people who want branding. Speaking like a leader closes the gap for people who are nervous about speaking. If Steve Jobs would have speculated, we wouldn't have Apple.
He changed lives. He helped people open up their business and start their business.
We are the brand. Some people say, Shaan, should I quit my job? Mentally, yes.
As a speaker too, to be able to learn from him and watch him and game respects game. And I want to have that much game someday.
The right client, pay $500,000 for what you do. You have to be bold in your beliefs.
He has been an amazing asset to this event and a pleasure to work with. Very captivating, collaborative, worked very well with the audience.
I want to help you. Put a 0 behind your number, right?
The session was great. How he is online, virtually, he is even more phenomenal in person.
Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands.
The entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond.
Give yourself a round of applause. Yes, yes, yes.
All right, guys, so we are back, and let's see who got it. So Dr. Michelle definitely got it. Dr. Michelle is so smart, She's just too smart. She got it. So she said Travis. So Travis Klein. So welcome, Travis. Welcome to the show, brother. I know you've been on several times, but it's phenomenal to have you back. How are you doing?
I am riding on a high. As an entrepreneur, anybody that has found what they truly love to do, you'll have those days or those nights where you pull those all-nighters because you're just that committed to getting whatever that specific thing is done. So I don't even know how I'm doing it. I feel like I'm a child waiting on Christmas, but I have so much energy that I don't even know what to do with it. So I'm hoping it gets transferred. I'm hoping somebody picks it up. Thank you for having me on, Bobby Jr. I'm just excited to see where we go today.
Okay. Guys, put some flames in the chat. I'm definitely feeling the energy beaming off of Travis this morning. Now, Travis, obviously we know who you are, but we always have new viewers looking at the show. So do you mind just, for the sake of those who don't know who you are, telling them a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Okay, well, simply put, I'm a child in a grown man's body that dares to dream while wide awake. So I have a background. Initially, I came from logistics, and from there, just made a complete pivot while I was biding my time, became an investor, wanted to get more serious, spent 14 years investing, but wanted a more hands-on approach. That's where the academy came in, wanted to take more control over my finances. And lo and behold, I actually have a newer development because people have been asking for it and asking for it and asking for it. And I've been just no. But behind the scenes have been able to form some awesome relationships and things to actually give people what they want. And like I said, I'm super duper excited.
Definitely. Now, Travis, what I know about you, and what I know that you know very well, is trading.
Mm-hmm.
So put it in the chat. How many of you are interested in trading? How many of you are interested in multiplying your money? Check this out. This is a lesson in marketing. If you say how many of you are interested in trading, maybe a few people will put a number 1. But if you say how many of you are interested in multiplying your money, how many people are going to put number 1s in the chat? So it's often not what you say, it's how you say it, how you package it, right? So there you go. Number 1s are coming in. So Travis, people want to multiply their money, as you know, because you're very well versed when it comes to wealth creation and things of that sort. You know that the first thing you have to do is you have to make money, then you have to be able to protect that money, and then you have to be able to multiply that money, right? So we know that you know all about that. So for for the people viewing, tell us a little bit more about how you help people to multiply their money.
Well, the very first thing I like to do when they come in is see where they're at up here. Because unfortunately, that's a piece that gets left out a lot. And I don't think enough attention is given to it. So even though, number one, like you said, we make the money, and then we protect the money, and then we multiply the money. Within those steps, first we want to make sure that we have the right mind frame about money going into it, before ever really putting anything into the market. So that may look different for everyone. Some people are more comfortable with less risk, and some people are more comfortable with risk, depending on where they are in the market. So I cannot state this enough about where the mindset comes into it, because that's going to have a major factor as to some of the things that you can and cannot do with that money, and the way in which it's going to grow.
100%. Bobby, you have any question for Travis?
Not at this very moment. I'm thinking through some things. So many of you all know I have a finance background as well. So I think I'm going to be doing some bridging throughout today's conversation. So as Travis lays some things out, as you're asking some phenomenal questions, I may connect a bridge here and there. And one of the bridges that I'd like to connect for the mindset piece for everybody that's watching, you know, the markets are a lot like entrepreneurship in the sense of the marketplace. So if the markets are up, let's say there's a bull market, everybody is buying, everybody is riding the wave up. And then when there's a bear market, then things are going down. Like if you're looking at a business and you're looking at the marketplace, so if you think about your company, your business, your brand, a bear market could be where nobody seems to be buying your stuff. And then a bull market seems to be like everybody's buying your stuff. So the mindset that I think Travis is really trying to get across to everyone is one of the first things you want to think about when it comes to multiplying your money is that there's going to be good times and bad times. And if you're not in the right mind frame of money come, money go, easy come, easy go, you may find yourself with that FOMO, which is fear of missing out, spending money you don't have, or the fear of sunk costs. You hold on to investments that you know you should let go, but you're afraid of the sunk costs, and you're like, it's going to go up. It's going to go up. So you buy more. It's going to go up. It's going to go up. And it really doesn't. So that mindset piece is crucial.
Right.
You hit it right on the head, Bobby. You hit it right. Thank you. I'm just glad to have someone else on with the financial background, because it's stressing that piece. Please, anybody watching this, don't do it to yourself. Don't do it to yourself if you're not willing to look at both sides of the coin. That's my biggest takeaway, my biggest piece that I want to contribute there. Because while there is great gain that can be had from it, the greater the gain, the realistic side of it, the greater the risk. So I don't want to leave that out, which is, why we're here and why we need a coach for anything that we do, whether it's business. And it still kind of blows my mind how, like, throughout childhood we know these things. We have teachers, so to say, that help us through, kindergarten on up. We know about having teachers in sports. We call them coaches. However, after the age of 18, generally, if we're not like in a collegiate level where we're playing some type of sport, unless you're a business owner and you've kind of grew up in that environment, the coach kind of gets neglected. And that it just kind of made me wonder, like, why does it fall off, or why does it seem so commonplace for it to fall off at that magic age of either 18 or after the collegiate level?
Yeah, that's
Right.
a good question.
That's a phenomenal question, Travis.
Yeah.
Phenomenal question. And I don't know, man. I'm not quite sure. I'm honestly not quite sure. Maybe people don't think of coaches. Maybe it's not like a common thing to have a coach when it comes to finance. Maybe people don't think about that kind of stuff. Um, but I wanted to ask you another question. Now I know a little bit about. I'm not now. Now check this out. I love this because Bobby has the finance background, economics. You have the trading, investor, wealth creation type of background. My background is none of that. My background is the background of the people in the audience. Okay, guys. So I don't have a degree in economics. I don't have any of those things. So I'm gonna ask the questions that I feel like the people looking who don't necessarily have those things would like to hear. So the first question I'm thinking is like, when can I get started, or how do I get started? Like, do I need to have a certain amount of money to get started with trading or investing? When is the best time? So those are sort of the initial questions. So number one, how do I know I'm ready? Like, how do I know I'm ready to trade or to invest? And by the way, let me just preface this by saying that nothing we say on the show is financial advice. Okay, so I'm not a financial fiduciary or anything of that sort. If you're gonna take the information here and you're gonna go into the market, please do so at your own risk. Okay, so we are not giving you investment or trading advice. Let me just say that one more time. We are not giving any investment or trading advice. Okay, so let me just preface that. But Travis, how does someone know when they're ready?
Okay, so I want to take you back and I want to make this as simple as possible. Anytime we look at a high level skill, high level profession, whether it's a doctor, a lawyer, an attorney, an architect, anything that takes 4+ years generally to get a degree, there's a amount of time that goes into learning that thing. Not only is there the time put in for the education to get the degree, but oftentimes there's either an internship that comes after, or you're beginning at a lower level. And with trading being no different, the first thing that someone would need to know as to whether they're ready or not is the level of commitment. So we generally like to start off with why they're doing it in the first place. So I remember coming into this program, and one of the things Shaan teaches when we go through branding is that we'll know we found our thing when the why makes you cry. So the same scenario is going to apply for trading as well. The reason why you're doing it would have to be enough to keep you committed to the ups and downs and challenges that you are going to face while you're in the market. Because like Bobby said, there's bull markets where the market goes up, and then there's also bear markets when the market goes down. And depending on your investment level, you can make money very well, whether it goes up or down. However, number one, making that decision to be committed is hands down one of the biggest things that come either right there with the psychology of it or the mindset, or a very close second.
Yeah. And I know we're about to go to a break here in about 2 minutes, but I could definitely add a piece to that that I think is pretty important. And the question was, how do you know when you're ready to start trading? And for me, I think a very important question is, when are you ready to know the truth? Because the reality is you're trading right now. Like, most people in the US have 401ks. By law, it's required. Like, you have to have, your employer has to have a retirement plan of some kind for you under certain degrees if you're not a 1099 contractor. So let's say you are not actively trading. That's what we call them. We call them retail investors. So a retail investor is someone that is not a hedge fund. It's not a professional great investor, but they are investing their own money. And everybody right now is investing money. You just might not be conscious of the money that's being invested on your behalf. So the question really isn't, when are you ready to start investing? At least that is a real question. But I think the better question is, when are you ready to start knowing how you've been investing? Because somebody's been investing your money, be it your job, be it whoever you're getting employed by. So the next question becomes this. Most people don't get into investing their own money because ignorance is bliss. And because ignorance is bliss, everybody wants to kind of just be like, oh, I'm doing good. But it's 8:30 now, so I'm going to put a pin in that thought. And when we come back, I'll go ahead and finish that thought. But ignorance is bliss. So when we get back, we'll talk about the flip side.
When I think of brand you, I think of being your best self, your most authentic. The reason why we were able to crush business, absolutely dominate in business without having the marketing list, without having the email huge list, without having the Facebook ads and the advertising budget, without knowing the algorithm. The reason we were able to do this is because I branded myself. I told my authentic story and I was comfortable in my skin. Why? Because it was that time in the world where everything was shifting. It was 2020, March. So you remember what happened during that time. It was like the world was coming to an end. So you didn't have anything to hold back. So I chose to give everything that I had and be everything that I am. And because I was that, because I branded me, because I was authentic, everything shifted. And people wanted more. And they wanted to know more about me and how they could become more comfortable in their skin. Listen, guys, when you brand you and not what you do, you're going to add a zero to the world, but you'll also add a zero to your revenue. Let's grow. Confidence is key. Most of the people I work with, they have the education, the experience, and the expertise. We call those the 3 E's. But they're looking for the 3 I's, the income, the impact, and the independence. And I always tell them that the bridge between the 3 E's and the 3 I's is marrying your confidence to your competence. Most of the people I work with, again, have all of the competence in the world. What I help them do is get the confidence.
Wow, super powerful. That Shaan said, what I help them do is get the confidence, right? So it's like everybody's trading, but people are ignorance is bliss because we're not confident, right? It's very funny that we're not confident in our own ability to trade on our own behalf, but it's because we don't want to know the truth. And the flip side of that, which is what I was talking about before the break, is that few people want to know the truth. And the truth is this: how much money have I made and what do I have to show for it? That's the truth many people do not want to look at. Because if they look at how much money they've made in their lifetime, they will say, I've probably made like $2-3 million. And this is a W-2 worker that's just worked the 9 to 5, right? They were like, I've probably made $2 million, $3-4 million by age 60. And I have like $20,000 to show for it. Literally, like they may have $100,000 to show for it. And that's because they didn't invest their own money. And the question, or the answer rather, to me is not how do you know when you're ready, but simply when are you ready to lose for your own sake so that you can win the way you want to win. And I think Travis may have a story on what losses look like and how those losses, when taken properly, can turn into exponential wins over time.
Yes. So we gotta go back to close to the beginning. When you, like you said, I wanted to take more control over my finances. I was doing the traditional 401k, doing well there. However, I wanted to learn for myself how to get bigger percentages. So, the hunt began. I started looking for investments, looking for vehicles, seek and ye shall find. Yeah. So I found something. However, at that time, I was really still kind of brand new, still trying to, getting my feel for the water, so to say. So I'm moving along, making progress, learning things here and there, and then the issue of regulated versus deregulated comes up. In that, I had dabbled in several different exchanges at that time. Had spread my money out. Thought I was doing relatively a safe style. I was diversifying. I didn't want to put all my eggs in one basket. So I put a few hundred here, a few hundred there, and a few hundred in another vehicle. One of them, I essentially studied like a science, like really understood their infrastructure on how to maximize it the most to get the percentages. So threw the money in, made the percentage that was advertised. I believe it was like 10% or something like that over a 24-hour period. Seen it pop up, made the withdrawal, and I was like, okay, awesome. It's real. They let me put the money in. They let me take the money out. So then I just went ahead and threw 5 figures into it. So threw the 5 figures in, did the same thing, but this time I didn't do any tests. I just literally every second, the key was I wanted to get my money to work for me as much as possible. So they had these different tiers. You get 10% at this rate, at this level of investment, 15% at another, 25 at another, 35 at another. So I'm literally maxing out each one of these tiers, putting whatever because they had cap limits too for each of those tiers. You only could put a certain maximum dollar amount in. So I'm maxing them out. Long story short, I get the account up to 1.2 million. At that point, I say, okay, let me pull out my initial investment. So I went to take out 29,000, and it was through Bitcoin. It's deregulated. When I go to do the withdrawal, I get the email that says I did the withdrawal. However, if you're familiar with crypto, you get an address. So my batch ID or my batch address where it said my money was going to, I go to click on this email, it says N/A. So I'm like, okay, maybe this is an error. I'm reaching out to customer support. It's been a couple weeks, like where's my money? So fast forward, it turned out to be a giant scam. And since it was deregulated, it was not here in the United States. So they were actually based out of the UK, had to go through their version of the Better Business Bureau. And fast forward to today, they couldn't help me out. The platform literally disappeared like almost right after the investigation. I get the letters. I still have these to this day that show that they had done the investigation. They're not entitled to tell me anything, but they'll look further into it. I go to the website, and the website is like, it gives me the DNS error. I'm sure y'all probably seen that before. Completely gone, and that's where me learning to trade came in 4 or 5 years ago, where I wanted to have that control over my money. So from that point on, it was like a never again will I put myself in that type of situation. And I learned the valuable lesson between the deregulated versus the regulated brokers and exchanges.
Wow. So like I'm just like Dr. Michelle. So Dr. Michelle says that's a nightmare. So I'm thinking to myself, number one, how could I prevent that from ever happening to me? What would you say to the people looking who may be interested in either trading or investing? And by the way, trading and investing are two different things. And I want you to speak to that, Travis, because when I started researching investing, I learned that there's a certain profile. When I say profile, I mean person. So there's a certain profile that is an investor and a certain profile that is a trader. You might be best suited for investing and not trading, or you might be better suited for trading and not investing. So, number one, so two questions. Number one, how can people prevent this same thing from happening to them? And number two, can you talk a little bit about the differences between a trader and investor and help people to recognize, sort of which one they are?
Okay. Awesome question. Thank you for hitting this on the head. Um, First off, to prevent it, I'm going to speak from a U.S. base. This may, the rules and regulations are going to vary depending on what country or jurisdiction you're in. However, for those here in the States, if you want to have any type of security, you want to go with a regulated brokerage or exchange. That's where you go in your bank, you see that dark blue label that says FDIC. Your money's guaranteed up to $250,000. That's in the event anything goes wrong. Or if it's a credit union, I think is it the SIPC or SPIC? Same thing, just but for credit unions. They actually have government backing so that in the event anything goes wrong, you can get your money.
Yep.
In the event that, now there are pros and cons to this. Generally, there are minimums required to actually trade. So I'll probably touch on that later because I don't want to go too far off. I want to answer the question. So that's here in the US. For those that kind of want to scratch that itch, so to say, you can do so in a deregulated platform. However, you just need to understand the risk. So generally, whatever the minimum is to get started, it's okay to do so, because some of these platforms can get you in for like as little as maybe like $10. So that way you can get the experience of the market and how it moves, get that feel for it, sort of say. And that way, even if you make some mistakes, risk management is its own animal. That's knowing the right amount to invest in any trade. However, people spend $10 on like freaking lunch or a nice smoothie or something like that. So you can afford that, and you won't be out of 1.2 million like I had to learn. That's question number one. That's how you prevent it, is either being in a regulated exchange if you're going to use large sums of money, or if you're going to use deregulated, you want to use a far smaller amount of capital, usually the bare minimum. And also that'll help you to test yourself also, to see where your discipline is and see whether or not you can actually do what you say you're going to do. Because the interesting thing about the market that most people don't know, that when they get in, is that it's designed to play with your emotions. And that's one of the interesting things about it, because you really get to learn about yourself and where your discipline is, and your fear and your greed and things like that, and whether or not you really have mastery over self. The second question was it about investing in trading? Did I get that right?
Yeah, it was about the differences between an investor and a trader. So the profiles.
Okay. So as a investor, that's more of the hands off. If you're old enough, you probably heard set it and forget it. Once you've chosen the correct vehicle, or I'll try to use simple terms. Once you pick the company you like and it's at a reasonable price, you can buy into that. This is one of the easiest ways of owning a company. You buy into that stock or ETF, whichever vehicle you're going to go through, and it's more of a set it and forget it. Like, let's say you only have $100 to invest each pay period or each month, whatever it is. You can you slowly and consistently add a certain amount, and over time, fast forward 10 years, you have a nice investment. So like what Bobby was saying earlier, you're not some of that 3.2 or 3 million that someone's earned over their lifetime. They can actually look back and see, oh, I have a quarter, a half, 1 point whatever million sitting here. This investment did really great. whereas a trader is more anxious. They're generally the ones that want to see results faster. They don't want to wait until retirement. They want to put something in now and pull it out like yesterday.
So
So
big.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just said big money now. I met a guy the other day, and he was telling me, Junior, I want big money now. So I think that's what you're talking about. So he's definitely not an investor.
No, and if he's gonna be big money now, he needs to be ready for big money taxes too, because that's a different. Bobby, I'm sure Bobby can definitely tell us a little bit more about that one.
Definitely. Like one of the biggest differences between trading and investing is frequency. So a trader is going to trade higher frequencies because they're moving money throughout the economy. That's literally what a trader does. They move money from one space in the economy to another space in the economy, and they're maximizing what's known as arbitrage to a degree. So arbitrage pretty much means when one person views something as one value and another person views it as another value, and when you and the disparity between those two, and I'm not going to go too deep, but it's pretty much the difference between those two values, the perceived value and the actual value, is where the profit is made. So a trader is pretty much looking for all the various arbitrage situations that are created. They're looking for as many places where something is either overvalued and they can short it, or it's undervalued and they can pretty much buy a ton of it and wait for the market to correct itself. And then when the market corrects, they can sell it at a profit. So a trader is pretty much doing that. Now, what an investor does, on the other hand, is they are stimulating the economy, whereas a trader is exciting the economy. So a trader is adding frequency and speed, and that speed of movement is generating money. And an investor is stimulating the economy. They're just taking a large sum of money, sitting it there, and letting that money sit. And because that money is sitting there, they may get a dividend at the end of the year. And that dividend says, thank you for allowing your money to sit here and not taking it out. And what this does is it allows the people that are leveraging this money, say the companies, to spend that money or at least borrow against it. And we're not going to go too deep into that, but if you've ever had to borrow money and they say, do you have any assets? Like, do you have anything to borrow against? If you own stock in a company can then borrow against your stock. So it's kind of like that. It's like the more stock that a company has out, the more shares that are out, the more leverage they have when they're going to lending institutions or other investors. They're like, hey, we've got all of this money. We can leverage against it because we can sell more stock, or we can increase the price of the stock. We can do all these different things. So it's really a matter of leverage. So when we ask the question about taxes and big money now, a trader is likely going to be paying far higher taxes because they're not going to get capital gains rates. And capital gains rates in the US simply means that if you purchase a stock and you hold on to that stock for a year, then that becomes a capital gains tax rate. If you trade it within a year, within 12 months, then you have to pay what's known as employment tax rates to a degree. So an employment tax rate would be extremely high for a 6-figure, 7-figure earner. So if you're paying 20 or 30% in taxes on the trades that you made, you're really trying to figure out how you can move that money and protect it. So a lot of them that are trading, and I'm not going to get into kind of tax avoidance and whatnot, but they have to do a lot to keep that money from disappearing. So an investor, again, trading a lot lower frequency and is maximizing capital gains taxes, while a trader may be trading at a much higher frequency and is using legal tax avoidance tactics, not tax evasion. Tax evasion is illegal. Tax avoidance is not illegal. But again, this is not investing advice.
Yes, sir. I'm happy you said that. So, guys, we're not teaching tax evasion, just so you know. We're not telling anybody to try to evade taxes, all right? We'll be right back after this short break. Stay tuned. This is Breakfast with the Brand.
There's slow growth and then there's scale. There's incremental growth and then there's exponential growth. What I want to talk to you about is adding a zero to you and experiencing exponential scale. Incremental growth says 1 plus 1 is 2. Exponential growth says 1 plus 0 is 10. Incremental growth says 2 plus 2 is 4. Exponential growth says 5 plus 0 is 50. Guys, listen, when you add a 0 to you, you can add a 0 to the marketplace. You can add a 0 to the value that you bring. So you can add a 0 to your family, add a 0 to your legacy. This is what we're talking about. We're not talking about incremental, we're talking about exponential. I always say that business is a spiritual game. Just imagine when you combine your skills, your values, your abilities, your talents to something bigger than you, something greater than you, something like the power of exponential. That is adding a 0. Add a 0 to your competence, add a 0 to your confidence. This is about adding a 0 in your life, your value, your industry, and your mission. Let's grow.
All right, guys. So we are back, and then we've been having a very, very interesting conversation with Travis about trading. Travis, before we sort of wrap up the show, I do want to talk about new ventures that you have going on, because you and I recently had a conversation, and you told me that you're sort of moving into the finance. Is it the financial literacy space? So can you
Yes.
tell us a little bit more about that?
So my number one question, hands down, when I'm doing my what we call discovery calls here in with the brand, is can you do it for me? Can I just give you the money and you trade it for me? So the thing is, I admire people asking the question. You know, if I didn't know any better, I might ask too. However, you have to hold certain licenses to be able to do so here legally. And I am a coach, nor would I want the extra job of controlling someone else's money for them. Now, I will give a man the tools to fish for themselves, but no, I'm not going to go out there, catch the fish for you, fillet it, cook it up, and hand it over so that you can, enjoy it, or at least not in a trading capacity. However, with the financial education piece, I've been able to partner with some pretty powerful people, and one of those people that's backing it is one of the authors of a very well-known book with the Rich Dad series, and she is helping us to pretty much give the passive side. So here lately, I have been studying for the exams, so that I can offer that passive piece that people have been asking for, so that they can be investors and at least take advantage of percentages that are multiples of hundreds of times better than what they would get in a traditional savings, or definitely now we can talk thousands of percents if it's sitting in a checking.
Yeah.
Definitely. So tell us, let's go a little bit deeper. So financial literacy, I heard investing, I heard financial literacy. So is it a course? So what exactly is it? Is it like a one-on-one program? Is it a course? So what exactly is it?
They are weekly trainings, so we hold classes now. Right now, and the schedule has been fluctuating quite a bit here lately, so I can't say anything's written in stone. Generally, I'm able to give the dates on a weekly basis. So if someone was to reach out to me at maybe at Profit Trading Academy or on social media, available predominantly on LinkedIn and on Facebook, but reaching out at any of those three platforms, if just there's a box in there, DMs, the contact section of the email address, of the website. It just send me a message. I am a human being. I am a person. So just let me know that you want the financial literacy information, and it's completely free. It's one of the ways we're looking to give back and try to spread the awareness of the things that we really should have learned probably back in high school. However, some of us as adults are still looking for those things. And as we progress through life, we're getting older and we're realizing that we need to take more action. So just being able to, I heard you say this, Junior, about looking out for the client's best interest.
Yeah.
So what I've done is essentially just pivoted to put myself in a position to where I can actually give people what they've been asking for, because 90% of people would ask me that question. Can I just give you the money and you do it for me? And 110% of the time, the answer was no. So at least now they'll have the education on what possibilities are out there of what they can do with their money. And then if they want further assistance, we can also just set them up and connect them with the right people that have some of these products that offer, like I say, 100 or thousands of times better percentages on what they would gain than what it would in a traditional checking or savings.
100%. And by the way, so this is Travis's website. Scrolling across the bottom, so www.profittradingacademy.com. So if you want to contact him, you could go there and send him a message if you want to learn more about those classes. So you said they are free of charge. Travis?
Absolutely free, yes.
Very cool. So it's a free resource. So I would go ahead and I would grab it. Um, Everybody knows about Rich Dad Poor Dad. Everybody knows about that series. Phenomenal series. So yeah, definitely, guys, go ahead and check it out. Bobby.
Man, all I can say is that the work you do today, like we've had such a deep conversation. I was wondering, I knew it was coming to me. I'm like, man, what am I going to say? What am I going to say to them? Because it's been such a great conversation. And Travis has answered the questions phenomenally. Junior has crushed the questions that he asked. So the only thing that I think I could say is starting sooner than later is one of the best things that I can recommend to anybody that's serious about building a financial fortress, so to speak. And I want to relate it to your brand, because in this scenario, I think your financial future and your brand are very similar. The sooner you start, the stronger your brand will be in a year. They say, when's the best time to plant a tree? 10 years ago, right? When's the best time to start a brand? 10 years ago. When's the best time to put yourself in the optimal financial situation with your investing or capacity to trade? I think it would be 10 years ago or immediately. So all I can say is thank you, Travis, for the answers. Thank you, Junior, for the questions. And if you guys are out there building your brand, do it yesterday. And if you're serious about building your wealth, do that yesterday as well.
Thank you, Bobby. So, Travis, final question for you. We're about to wrap up. Now, I know you've been part of the leverage for a little while, and I've seen your journey. I can remember the first time you came in, and the man that I'm looking at right now is a little bit different, right? I mean, you're still the same Travis, but you're just a little bit different. So, my question to you is, how has the impact of building your brand been on your journey thus far? In fact, has it been impactful? Has the brand, you building your brand, contributed in any way to your success? Can you speak to that? Because this is a primarily branding style podcast. So we do want to ask you that question. When it comes to building the brand, what has the impact been on your business and how you've been able to move in the market?
Absolutely priceless. I want to thank everybody, especially Shaan, for having the idea to get this up and going. The people that came before I got here that helped to create those different courses and modules. The ones that are still here and the ones that had other things to come up or that caused them to transition or them to pivot, or things just took off for them in such a phenomenal way that uh, they're just not as accessible. As Shaan says, add a zero. They added a zero and now they're in a whole nother bracket. So with that, Bobby, I've seen your growth, and it's funny. It's funny because they get to see where you started and where you are now, and it's like, man, that's that guy there. Like, man, he cleaned up well. We went from, I guess, like what a diamond would look like in its raw form to when they polish that thing up and get the brilliance on it. So to see you and to see Junior and Dr. Michelle, like I say, Shaan, what people see here is, I know he called it an appetizer, but it's only like a bite. It's the like the Sam's Club sample. What you get here, the little toothpick.
Yeah.
Because on the back end, you got to think, Sean, has he gotten the third master's yet, or is it like really he has? So he's a triple master's in psychology. So I mean, you really got to understand. So this means where he comes from of not having the opportunity to where he is and what he's giving with a triple master's in psychology to be able to break down business in a plain, everyday English, common sense kind of way. You can't put a dollar amount on that. So absolutely phenomenal, absolutely priceless. I would not have been on the news if it wouldn't have been for his tutelage. I've actually been offered to come back. Have so many things that have taken off since then. We haven't even touched on a lot of the things lined up, but I'm actually having to turn a lot of things down because I don't. It's only one me right now, or at least push them to the back burner for now as I continue to work in the second quadrant. And we'll probably have to. I'll let Bobby touch on that another time because I wouldn't have even known about that had he not turned me on to that phenomenal teaching.
100%. Travis, thank you so much, man. We definitely will be having you back on. Guys, put some flames in the chat for Travis. Okay, and number one, if you need to learn how to trade, definitely go to www.profittradingacademy.com. Connect with Travis. He's offering free resources when it comes to financial literacy. And also, we know Travis very well. Travis is a brother. We know Travis very well. And we only bring people who are tested on this show, as you know. So, guys, thank you so much for having us on. Travis, thank you for coming out. Man, super proud of you, super proud of your growth. Looking forward to having you back, man. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. All
Thank
right,
you.
guys. Take care. Speak soon. Oh, by the way, before we log off, Monday. So Monday, April 8th. Let me put it back one more time. Monday, April 8th, the brand challenge is back. Okay, so the brand challenge day one. So day one starts on April 8th, and that is on Monday. And I believe we will be kicking off from 9 a.m. So 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to 12. Of course, it is free of charge. 5 days about building your brand, 100% free of charge. Only cost of investment is your time. So if you or anybody you know, okay, is interested in building your brand, then definitely come along. All right, guys. So have a phenomenal day, and we'll see you tomorrow on Breakfast with the Brand. Let's grow.